Good afternoon. Welcome. This is the Classical Next Innovation Award, and many of you might know this celebration from the last years in Rotterdam. It's a stadium-like concert hall. There's an orchestra playing, a big band, a ballet is dancing, television ballet. It's actually just like the Oscars. You might know it. So we did that for many years, but repeating an event, a huge event every year, eventually becomes boring. So this year we decided to have the awards celebration in the cozy lobby of Piranha Arts in Berlin, the headquarters of the Classical Next. And this is what we do today. I'm Mischa Kreiskott, radio host from German Public Radio. And today I have the honor to present this award of the Innovation of Classical Music 2020. There were like 100 projects in the competition, and an international jury of journalists and music experts has chosen 10 of those projects in the shortlist, and it was you voting for the 3 we are going to award today. And the first prize is about an old story which actually shouldn't be discussed anymore. It's about female composers, and I told you I'm a radio guy, and I always chuckle when I see at the International Women's Day when radio channels broadcast female composers' compositions once a year in March. Thank you. So this project from Sydney is about mentoring and guiding young female composers on their way in a career and furthermore on stage. The Classical Next Innovation Award goes to the Sydney Conservatory Women's Program.
Composing Women challenges the gender status quo in classical music composition, placing women's creative voices center stage. The Sydney Conservatorium of Music is proud to partner with so many innovative artists, industry bodies and Australia's flagship companies to advance gender equality in music, working for a more diverse and inclusive future.
A mentoring and coaching program for composing women in Sydney, founded and still guided by Lisa Lim, composer from Sydney, and she cannot be here today, but to accept the award, she now sends us greetings from down under.
Good evening, I'm Lisa Lim, Professor of Composition and Sculthorpe Chair of Australian Music at the University of Sydney. The university sits on Gadigal land of the Eora Nation, and I respectfully acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land and their elders. I'm honoured and delighted to accept this Innovation Award from Classical Next on behalf of the Sydney Conservatorium of Music in recognition of our work to advance gender equity in music. I also want to congratulate the other winners and nominees. It's so fantastic to see the range of projects happening all over the world that show music's power to connect and inspire people and to make real social change. The Composing Women program was initiated in 2015 by Professor Matthew Heinsohn to address the glaring absence of women in a traditionally male-dominated field. I've led the 2-year program since 2017 and it's now in its 3rd cycle. In that time, we've seen some remarkable changes worldwide in the conversation around gender equality, diversity and inclusion. But it is a continuing challenge to unwind stereotypes and challenge unconscious bias around the art making and achievements of women, as well as other historically othered people. The Sydney Conservatorium's Composing Women program challenges the status quo in classical music composition through strategic mentorship and inspiring projects that position women's creative voices centre stage. We're proud to partner with many exceptional artists such as the flautist Claire Chase, percussionist Claire Edwards, Ensemble Offspring and the Golden String Quartet, as well as large flagship companies in Australia such as the Sydney Symphony Orchestra, the Tasmanian Symphony Orchestra, Sydney Chamber Opera, Sydney Dance Company, Sydney Philharmonia Choirs, as well as our industry partners, the Australian Music Centre and APRA AMCOS, Musica Viva Australia and ABC Classic. What this extensive list of artists and institutions illustrate is that cultural change is a whole systems project. I'm immensely grateful to all these partners for their leadership and their commitment to the program's ethos, which brings education, performance opportunities, networks and resources into the strong alignment that is needed to achieve lasting results. Thanks once again to Classical Next for this honour and international recognition of the Composing Women program. Thank you for all the inspiring work you're doing and have a great evening.
Lisa Lim, composer from Sydney, thank you very much. This is the Classical Next Innovation Award, streaming this year worldwide from Berlin, the Classical Next headquarters. And the next prize I want to mention is a story about space, about sound, about a house, and about 50 musicians who friendly taken over a space in Amsterdam. The Classical Next Innovation Award goes to Splendor Amsterdam, a house full of sound.
Splendor is eigenlijk een clubhouse voor 50 muzici en hun geestverwanten. Als werkplaats, als bar, als laboratorium, als concertpodium.
Splendor is mijn tweede huis eigenlijk.
Waar ik mijn mooiste projecten en mooiste dromen kan waarmaken.
Heel veel van de projecten waar ik nu mee bezig ben zijn hier begonnen.
Voor mij is het een bevrijding.
Een constante bron van horizonsverbreding.
En je loopt daar binnen en je hoort allemaal spannende dingen met elektronica. En daar repeteren ze Schubert.
En improviserende muziek en oude muziek.
Dat werkt altijd zo positief. Daar komt altijd zoveel energie los.
Het in- en uitlopen van al die muzici die allemaal dingen aan het doen zijn en bezig zijn met projecten maken. Dat maakt dat het hier echt zo'n brandpunt is.
Het hart van Splendor is ook publiek. Zonder het publiek bestaat Splendor niet. Het is gewoon heel simpel.
A beautiful space in Amsterdam, packed with musicians and space and creativity. This is what Splendor is awarded with the Classical Next Innovation Award this year. And to accept the prize, I now talk to Matthijs van der Voort. He's a baritone singer. He's currently the chairman of the Splendor Foundations. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm a bit sad that I cannot give you a hug at the moment, but to receive this award at this moment is very poignant and very special and very, very valuable. So I should really say thank you from me and from my 50 fellow musicians here at Splendor, and from the 1,000 members of the club, the audience members who've kept us afloat through the last couple of weeks, and who always do. They are really the backbone of our whole organization. So this is an award that goes to 1,050 people, and it means a lot to all of us. Right now I'm sitting in a very empty but beautiful space. I can hear one bass clarinet somewhere, and it should be filled with people. I mean, there should be artists here practicing, talking, having coffee. There should be regular customers here who come to concerts sometimes 3-4 times a week, talking about the beautiful things in life with each other and the people who just performed for them. And right now this is not possible, but somehow we've kept afloat until now. And there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. We can start soon to invite some of our audience back into the building and do the thing that we missed most. the musicians have been having endless meetings on the webcam, like we have been now, to see how this hyper flexible, agile organization that Splendor is can deal with all the limitations that we have and that might be there for quite a while. And I think we are very much looking forward to trying and testing the waters very soon in our little concert hall right here. And to get this award at this moment is really, it's such a boost. It's really a confirmation of the little thing that we do here and that feels so very local, right in the middle of Amsterdam, has bigger reverberations all over the world, and that it's being noticed and it's being rewarded. So thank you so much.
We've seen some insights from the house, but where exactly are you now?
I'm in the bar. Let me try and show you around. This is what it looks like right now. That's Iris right there. Nothing is happening. It's a bit of a mess even. Let me just show you the small hall. There's our little concert grand and lots of percussion, but silence mostly. Now, where does that bass clarinet come from? Hey, Maarten. This is Maarten Ornstein.
Hello.
He's the only guy practicing in the building at the moment.
Resident Evil.
Yeah, we won an award.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Do we get money?
Oh. Good question.
Okay. Let me know.
Yeah, I'll keep you posted. So you see, it has nothing to do with the concert hall at the moment. It's an empty clubhouse, an empty shell, and hopefully from the 1st of June, we can start doing small things for a limited amount of people again.
I hope. It will be great and going positively. Absolutely. Thank you so much for guiding us around. Matthijs van der Voort, he's a baritone singer, chairman of the Splendor Foundation. All the best for you in Amsterdam. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
What a beautiful space they have there in Amsterdam. And I'm glad to hear that there are going to be concerts be played very soon, at least small ones. And well, it's weird to have an award about classical music when there are no concerts all over the world. But let's say this prize is about innovation and new perspectives and new ways in classical music. So let's say it's about the future of music, the after Corona future of music. And the next and final prize is about material and wood and instrument building. And I remember well, I was still a teenager when I had the chance to order a custom-made classical guitar for myself. The guitar maker, the luthier, would show me tropical woods to build the instruments. And I thought, well, actually it's okay for an instrument to use that material. No, it's not anymore. And for instrument building, this is a major problem, and luckily there are clever people in Finland researching with new materials. The Classical Next Innovation Award goes to Partones. this is Partones from Finland, a research lab working on the replacement of natural materials in instrument building. And the founder and one of the researchers in that lab is Armin Sebas. And I'm talking to him now up north in Lapland, in Salar. Armin Sebas, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Greetings from the Polar Circle.
Thank you. We've seen some pictures and I got some ideas. It's about the replacement of ebony and ivory and tropical woods. But what kind of materials are you working with?
We have developed and are developing materials that are based on natural fibers that are coming from agriculture or forestry. And from those, we make material that is very much based on the anatomy of wood. So we try to achieve that the material looks as the natural material and that you can work with it quite similarly as with the natural materials, and that it, of course, sounds pretty much the same, which is very important for the instruments. And we try to achieve that by mimicking the anatomy of the wood. That is actually one of the key factors in our work.
In the end, is the aim to use no wood at all? For example, by building a violin? No.
We don't try to make wood unnecessary. For very many places and instruments, the natural wood is the right thing to use because it is available and it sounds good and it grows very ecologically in the forest. But there are certain species, of course, that are problematic, and only for those we try to find the solutions. So this is not trying to compete with the wood, but to solve a problem that we all have as musicians and as instrument makers, that many of the materials simply are rare, the species that they come from are endangered, and we have a legal problem, so we are simply not allowed to use them or to travel with the instruments. So that's where these materials come in, and only for those we try to find a solution.
Are you still in an experimental state, or are they finished products ready to sell?
We are very close to getting on the market, really. We have developed products and we are now setting up facilities to produce them, actually. And that's the main work at the moment, that we get the production going, which is a different challenge than developing the product itself.
Partones from Finland. Armin Sebas, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And talking about the environment, I want to mention that with every award, we send out a certificate that 5 trees are going to be planted within the South American rainforest. That's a start. And I've mentioned before, this Innovation Award is a People's Award. It was you who voted for the awards. And, well, we don't know who voted for which project, but we know who voted. And one of the voters is a musician from Scotland. He's playing in the Scottish National Orchestra. He's chairman of the European Music Council, and his name is Ian Smith. Hello, Ian.
Hi.
You have an eye on the Classical Next Innovation Award since quite a while, I think. And if you look at this year's shortlist, what comes into your mind?
I think the first thing that comes to my mind is, they fulfill very much what is innovation, what is new, what is maybe slightly different, but without making concession on quality. So I think there's a wide variety, from finding new material to make music instruments with, from popularizing opera in bars, which is a great idea for me when the bars open. But I think there's a wide range, the children's program in Germany, there's a wide range of shortlisted programs which really do underline why this award is important and why it should reside at Classical Next.
What would you say? What kind of innovation would we need in the current epidemic situation?
I think the key is keeping access to music as wide as we can. I know for example, older generations, I suppose I'm part of that myself, who don't have access to technology as readily as most of us have, and particularly the young have, then it's difficult to find ways to access music. A lot of people, of course, are playing music in their own homes. I know that in the UK, where I live in Scotland, the classic music channel on BBC Radio 3 is announcing huge increases in audience figures, which tells me that more and more people are trying to find comfort, are trying to find escape, but are engaging with serious music, classical music, if you will. And I know that there are many musicians who are providing online tools, particularly in the contemporary music sector, who are very, very good at technology, of accessing their work, of accessing education programs online. And we know that this is a situation that at the moment is on hold, but I see technology being used to better and better effect. And when we come through this pandemic, through this crisis, I expect to see technology being better used to promote and support live music activities. So maybe there will be a benefit, but it's going to take some time.
Looking at Germany, there are like two very strong opinions. On the one hand, people say stop doing living room concerts, and the other say it's great. I want to go on Facebook and watch the brass players making music. What's your opinion and your point of view?
My opinion is very easy, very simple. It's one I've long had. When people complain about something, if you don't want to engage with it, turn it off. If you do, turn it on and enjoy it. And I don't think others should be making those choices. If musicians are performing or putting material online and observing social distancing, then that's something that people should be able to access. The area that is really, really worrying is the voice, the use of the voice and the use of choirs particularly. And even at Classical Next, we see input from great contemporary work that features the human voice, which, let's never forget, was always the first instrument.
Ian Smith from Scotland. Thank you so much for taking part in this award. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
From Scotland, Ian Smith, Chairman of the European Music Council. Classical Next Innovation Award 2020. Thank you for watching. Thank you all the partners. Thank you the camera team, Alena and Gideon. And it's not over now, because we actually gonna listen to some real music. Cello is a cello player from Spain, and he combines the classical cello with many aspects of modern technology. My name is Mischa Kreiskott. Stay well.
must prepare for the coronavirus pandemic.
The situation is very grave, and therefore the declaration of a special disaster zone is not enough. We're no deaths toll back now at types of bombs.
Has tested positive for the virus.
Here's your mother from Spain, recording this video in English as you asked me. But you know I hate this screen so much. We keep in touch without being touched. There is something wrong here. Are you actually in the other side of the screen?
Are you actually on the other side of the screen? These touched screens will never be able to touch and embrace.
When are you coming from Germany, my son?
The world has changed forever.
I sent you the video of my hand, and you also asked me for a song. I remember this lullaby from Johannes Brahms that I sing when you were a baby. You are still a baby. Mi niño, te quiero.